G'day and welcome to the Simpsons Index. We have a wonderful podcast for you today with an awesome guest, Tommy Dassalo. He's here to help us review the episode called Meat is Murder. But just before we get into this podcast, I want to tell you about our other podcast, Starring Springfield, where we are reviewing the movies that star the cast of The Simpsons. So search Starring Springfield on your podcasting app or check out the links in the show notes. But for now, just keep listening to the Simpsons Index. The Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast. Coming to you from SideQuest Studios, this is The Simpsons Index, episode 312. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, joined here as always, except when he's not, by BT Calloway.
Ahoy.
And joined by brand new guests all the way from beautiful Melbourne, it's Tommy Dassalo.
Hello, thank you for having me. Thank you for putting up with me fucking you guys around at the last minute last night and throwing my weight around by making you record 24 hours after we were meant to. I appreciate your patience.
This fucking podcasting diva over here.
And the irony, I mean, my whole life is asking people to do podcasts and hoping that they've got the date and the time right and that they turn up at the right time and that they've remembered. You even sent me an email to check that I was all good for it, and I just still read the day completely wrong. I'm such an idiot, and I'm falling on my sword here to let everyone know what a complete fuck up I am.
It took thousands of podcasts, but you finally admitted it.
Yeah.
Well, no, thank you for joining us. And yeah, listeners out there might know Tommy Dassalo from Filthy Casuals and How to Do Everything. But we're here today to talk Simpsons, something which no one on a podcast has talked about much before.
We've checked.
So, Tommy, please tell us, we like to ask our first-time guests, what's your history with the show? Where did it begin? What's your Simpsons history?
Yeah, I feel like I was there pretty early. I'm trying to remember like what would have been the first episode that I saw of it on free-to-air TV back in the day. But I reckon I was catching it from around like maybe season 2 or 3 or something. Like I have pretty clear memories of like sneaking away at like a parents' dinner party with like, a couple of the other kids that were my age. I guess we would have been like 7 or something like that. And yeah, and catching those first couple of episodes and yeah, just being, I think about this a lot. Like it's really hard to, I think like detach yourself now from, the cultural ubiquity of The Simpsons and remember that when it premiered, like so much was made of like how grotesque the designs were and how like off-putting the characters looked. And of course now it's the most like safe, sanitized looking cartoon.
Wallpaper,
yeah, exactly. But when it first came out, I remember so much of the draw of it was like their skin's yellow, their eyes are all big and bulbous like that. It all seemed like so kind of like weird and entrancing. So I definitely remember being drawn to that side of it when I was like a little kid because it looked so, unsettling.
Well, actually, this is a question I don't get to ask much, but yeah, because you're a drawer, you're an artist as well. Did you ever draw many of the Simpsons designs? Did you ever sketch a Homer or a Bart? Yeah?
Yeah, all the time. I used to doodle the Simpsons a lot. They're pretty simple characters. So they are like if you're a kid and you're like trying to learn to draw or get better at drawing. Like I had all those. You guys, sorry, I'm gonna have to stop myself from saying like. Do you guys remember, like, of course you remember, you're doing a fucking Simpsons podcast, like the Simpsons Illustrated, the magazine that was like before they had the comic book that had these kind of like weird fake like Simpsons articles in it and stuff like that?
Oh, I might not remember that pre-comics.
Yeah, pre the comics.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how many there were. They had little comic strips in them, but they also they would have like how to draw the Simpsons pages and they had like a lot of the kind of production Bible stuff from the show that was like the internal design stuff of like all the principles of like the ratio of like the head and the character's eyeballs and like how many eyeballs,
how many spikes are on Bart's head,
all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so like I remember seeing that and being really like, oh right, there's like really clear principles to like how these characters are designed and that they look uniform in every scene, even though like back then it looked so sort of part of the charm of it was so rough and it was so like jagged and wonky looking and Like those early seasons just look awesome. There's like up until about 4 or so where it's all like they do the thing that they kind of stopped doing, I think around season 4 or 5, where when characters turn their heads really quickly, like the top of their jaw stays on one side. Like I loved all that stuff. And like watching this episode that we're going to talk about, it's like it's so clean now, and it looks nice, but it just doesn't have any of that kind of weird charm to it anymore.
Yeah, well, that's something that another artist had said onto it, that what bugs her about these latest episodes is the really inconsistent line weight. But
yeah.
Inside term that maybe you're the only other guest to know this one, but like it is a funny thing where it's like everything's so uniform and predictable and just to the Bible, but for whatever reason, the line weight looks so amateur, like when you're looking close.
Yeah. It's kind of, I mean, a lot of things look like this now. It's just the reality of, especially TV animation, they don't have the budgets to do it all hand drawn. So in a lot of ways, it's a blessing, digital animating tools, because it means that like more stuff can get made. But like you do fall into this thing where, especially like Netflix, a lot of the stuff that gets up on there, like it all kind of looks it all looks really flash. It all looks really like Newgrounds era, like that kind of like, and once you know a little bit about the principles of how those things are put together, they're kind of rigged up like little puppets. You can really like easily see the seams of like, there's no like crazy like Disney style, in-betweening where you have these like big fantastic poses like they even used to have on The Simpsons. Like even that sequence in an early episode where it's like a Roadrunner parody where Homer's chasing, but like all these like they used to do a lot more big poses, and now it's like it's very static, all of the stuff that happens on the show, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, what is your recent relationship with the show? Are you checking out new episodes at all, or where are you in The Simpsons at these days?
No, I haven't. This is the first like time I've watched a recent episode since, I think every now and then when I would have free to air on in the background, I might have caught like a little bit of one here and there. And I feel like, because there's always, like every 5 or 6 years, there'll be some article about The Simpsons is back, it's good again, and it's going through like a real renaissance. And so I kind of always get tempted and check one out and just sort of go like, yeah, it's fine. But it's such a weird one. I mean, it's, it's like a different show. I don't think that like it's necessarily, if this was like a new series that I watched, I would probably like it a lot more. It's obviously super hard when your best period is not just your best period, but like some of the best like comedy that's ever been written or ever will be written, animated or otherwise. But also I don't really like falling into that camp of going too hard on the quality not being as good anymore, because like I think it's pretty much just like The Simpsons and Saturday Night Live that, have been around for just this insanely long amount of time, where you have like people working on the show that weren't even born when it started, like where they started out as this very like, The Simpsons was so subversive, and like people would write in letters and complain about like, Bart, but the whole thing about like the Bushes kind of like railing against Bart as like this bad role model. And Saturday Night Live was the same thing in its day. It was like this real kind of like firebrand, like explosive underground show. And like now they're just both two examples of like, very, not to say that what they're doing is bad, but like just very safe stuff. There's no way anyone would watch anything that's happening on Saturday Night Live now and be like, whoa, I can't believe they went there.
Yeah. No, it's funny you mention those and bring up the comparison, because, something a guest, Jamie Kirk, you might know him, said recently on an episode was like, The Simpsons is less like a show anymore, and it's more like an institution like Saturday Night Live, where it's like something comics, actors, comedians like love to say that they've been involved with. But it's just like, oh, wow, Justin Bieber was on The Simpsons, and now fucking TikToker, what was her fucking name? Charlie D'Amelio? Did you know her before this episode? It's like,
I thought that was an original character.
Yeah, I think I knew the name, but I couldn't. It's a weird, and I mean that in itself is kind of a strange thing where, they in the early days, they famously all the stuff that they were referencing was like already 50 years old. Like they wanted the show to be evergreen, and like I remember kind of watching it, still kind of catching new ones here and there. And there would be these like, parodies of films that had come out like the year before that were like very on the nose. Like what's the one where Bart has the like, he's flying for a restaurant and it's like they do this like bullet time Matrix thing.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking that was so kind of unlike any of the stuff that it was never as, even if it felt kind of on the nose, it was still like it kind of stood alone as its own thing. Not just like using the music and like if you haven't seen the thing that they're poking fun of, you're like, what the fuck is this? But you know, like for so many people of our generation, like Homer, you know, making the mashed potato circus tent when he's at clown college, like you could see that and be like, what a weird thing for Homer to do, whether or not you know that it's referencing something. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is the difference of making a reference and the joke still working and still landing versus you have to have seen this thing for the joke to have made sense.
Yeah.
Which I think
is kind of the case
is
of this
guilty
episode.
of.
Yeah. Big time. Yeah.
Because, and I think we'll be able to explore this with the one person in the room who hasn't seen Succession.
Hello.
Oh, right.
Well, let's get into the episode. So we just watched Season 33, Episode 21, Meat is Murder. First released in May of 2023, directed by Bob Anderson, written by Michael Price. In this episode, so it turns out Grandpa used to work at a burger chain and Krusty the Clown stole their idea for the triple spatula to flip burgers with and, took their ideas. But the old owner, Gus, from, what was it, the burger chain that they had?
Kind of okay.
Worth a try.
Worth a try.
That was
Worth
it.
a try.
That's right. I was remembering Whataburger because that's kind of what they're parodying here. Worth a try burger.
Yeah.
Anyway, he comes back. He's this rich tyrant billionaire, and then it kind of pivots into a Succession parody, and Krusty just sort of gets dropped off from the story entirely.
I think this is kind of how I felt about like anytime I've checked in on one of the newer ones. They kind of always feel like very first drafty. Like they kind of always feel like they've got too much going on, and the good stuff isn't really able to breathe, and there's stuff in there where you go, this feels like its own separate idea. Like this felt kind of weirdly all over the place to me from where we start to where we end up. Like it's trying to do a lot in 21 minutes or whatever it is.
Oh, 100%. BT, what did you think of this one? We need you to make more noises than that, man. It is a podcast.
I was going to ask you guys, like, because are you watching these like in order, like for the pod? Oh, you're not. Okay. So like this like season that this is from, have you watched many like? This period of the show, is it like a decent period of the show, like where this episode is from? Or
they're definitely trying more in the Disney era. That said, a lot of that trying comes down to like big swing episodes where they're trying something high concept, and those are the ones that get headlines, that get people kind of watching again. The ones in between tend to be pretty lackluster, if not outright bad.
Yeah.
So to take the season as a whole, higher highs, but very middling lows.
No, I mean, it's funny you ask that because season 33 is often the season that those articles of The Simpsons is back were like pointing towards and saying,
sure, right.
Yeah, and you know, to be fair, like actually this is going to be the last episode from season 33 we're reviewing today.
Okay.
We have done them all already.
Really? Yeah, well.
Yeah, and it's definitely the best of the 30s, but it's when we average out our rankings, it's still not as good as season 15.
Sure. It's tough, isn't it? Like as much as there's definitely some issues with this script and the story where you go like, why wouldn't they do this? Why wouldn't they, expand on this? Or why wouldn't they just like not worry about this? But, they've done so much with these characters that I imagine it is just a constant, like, you get to a point in the writer's room where you're like, well, why don't we have, Krusty do this or whatever? And then realizing like, oh, we did that already like 20 years ago. Like, obviously when you've been on the air for this long, like the rod that you've made for your own back is like finding completely fresh new things that you haven't done yet becomes harder and harder. Even though there's already a couple of things in this that are like sort of versions of things they've done before anyway, which is strange.
Yeah, sort of. But I think even to that, I can't think of a Grandpa Lisa pairing really. Like that's reasonably fresh.
No, this whole Gramps thing, like the only thing I could think of was the Malibu Stacy episode where they're sitting at the table and they're like, it's rotten being old, no one listens to you. It's rotten being young, no one listens to you. That whole bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think that's the only time, because that's the fun thing we've discovered is that even in the early seasons, there was this sort of hidden thing that Grandpa and Bart have a really good relationship.
Right.
And some of the better episodes of the 20s sort of delve into that a bit more. But yeah, Grandpa and Lisa,
not really so much.
But it's good.
I like that. I would have liked to see more of that in this episode.
100%.
I think that everything that happens that they end up going for, they could have done without the Grandpa Lisa stuff being there. It's not really used to any great effect. Like, I would have rather see a whole episode that was about that relationship, because, I mean, that's the thing that is, the show at its peak was so good at having great jokes and being very silly, but having this real core to it. And like the scene of them kind of sitting together, like I was so close with my grandpa when he was alive, like as were like, so, the bond of like grandkid and grandparent is like, so many people can relate to that. And like, I just think that that's, kind of a shame to not have like explored that a bit more in depth. Cause that was the thing when that scene came up, I was like, oh, this is really nice. I'd love to see a story of this. And then all of a sudden we're getting just a weird like note for note Succession parody for some reason.
Yeah, it started with a Founder parody and then morphed into a Succession parody. That was just to establish that, BT, you've seen neither of those things?
Neither of those things.
How'd the whole episode track with you not knowing Succession and all?
I thought it was a Knives Out parody.
Okay,
one of the character models, two of them actually, of like his kids do look like two of the characters from Knives Out, like the guy who's kind of in that, I don't know, pullover, and the kind of the younger looking one who's always on his phone. They kind of look like characters. So I thought that was it, but maybe that's just that's a character archetype that showed up in more than one thing.
Well, because the billionaires' kids in this are pretty much one-to-one recreations of the Succession characters of. And this is a weird thing because not only have we got the Succession characters, they're actors, now we have to have the very different actors in this episode, which, this episode has got a stacked guest cast.
And John Lithgow.
Yeah, that I found so weird that you've got John Lithgow kind of doing this character, which is great. He's awesome. His voice is great for a cartoon. Like, it really works. And then it's kind of like anytime I see like a clip on social media about The Simpsons having parodied something, I just don't really think it's their strong suit these days at all. Like, it literally just is like a one for one. Like, in this, they kind of just like do the Succession theme.
We've said that a lot with like a lot of parodies aren't parodies. They're just doing the same thing.
Right. 100%. And it's just kind of, I was sort of like, why are the kids these one-for-one character designs of the kids in Succession when the dad isn't that? The dad is like a whole new guy, and Kendall's not in the mix.
Yeah.
I was like, why are they just kind of doing this, like 80% of the way is like all of the way, and then the rest of it is just not there at all? It just seemed so confused. Like, I didn't quite get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this episode has 8 guest stars total. So Seth Green is playing like the Kieran Culkin Roman Roy character. They managed to get him from Family Guy. Kristen Ritter is playing the Siobhan / Sarah Snook. Is that her name?
Yep.
Yeah, that's Kristen Ritter. And Paul F. Tompkins as the Alan Ruck stand-in.
Yeah. Very strange. I wonder if they tried to get any of the... I wonder if they went for it with trying to get the Succession people at the time.
Well, they got one. Did you happen to catch the one that they did get?
Yes, I did look this up afterwards. Who was it?
It was Cousin Greg.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Which is Cousin Greg to be the one actor who agreed to do the Succession parody. That is
Cousin Greg. Hey.
Such a Cousin Greg move.
Again, that just makes it even weirder that you've got and he's in the credits as, like, all the other characters, they're modeled on the children, but they've got different names.
Yeah.
But then he is just playing like their actual Cousin Greg, right? And it's the guy who, bizarre levels of different involvements of parody going on. Really odd.
Yep, and then also playing the Jerry stand-in, which is like the lawyer, Edie Patterson.
Oh, yeah.
She was in Righteous Gemstones, Vice Principal. Oh, she's in Knives Out. How about that?
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
She's Fran in Knives Out. There we go.
Yep.
So, BT, turn to you, for better or worse. What's a moment that stands out to you from this one?
How the fuck old is Krusty?
Yes! Thank you.
Like
Very.
that stood out to me, but I was willing to run with it. The thing I'm really going to harp on, because it baffles me, they don't de-age his character model when they go 50 years in the past.
It's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah, like,
because he
why
looks
not?
older than Abe, so he's like working as a stand. They flash back to him 50 years ago. He's doing stand-up, so he's got to be like, let's assume like 20. So
he's
what
at
present
least
day?
in his 70s.
Yeah, and they don't. I mean, I thought surely there'd be some joke about like, how old are you, Krusty? And, him going like, oh, you'd be surprised how this clown makeup, something like that.
Joke about cosmetic surgery, waka waka.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's kind of like how, people get really hung up on the timeline of the show where now they've started doing flashback episodes that are,
To the
how
90s or something.
Yeah, how Homer and Marge met, and it's 20 years from now, present day, which people kind of hate. And
I say it a lot. Do not try and think about time in The Simpsons. It is not a path to walk.
And I mean, there's a lot of, so there's like a Donkey Kong Switch 2 game that just came out, and the Donkey Kong timeline of like when all these characters are meant to exist. They've sort of just done all this stuff in this new game that completely betrays all of that. And some people who are like super into it are like, oh, that's a shame. And then other people are like, who gives a fuck? It's just a video game with a big ape in it. But, like in any kind of cartoon thing, even if it is sort of silly and it doesn't matter, but you're asking people to really care about these characters, right? And like really be invested in them. So you can fuck around a bit and be silly, but there just has to be like a bit of, it's just when the internal logic within the thing is all over the place.
I can get over Krusty, being in his 70s and maybe he's just had a lot of work done. That's a joke. That's fine. I do not understand why they didn't change his character model, because they have a young Abe and he's younger. They have the Gus, the new billionaire, and he's younger. It's like, did they just not
it
bother?
Looks exactly the same. Yeah.
And it makes some of the scenes hard to know. Like the first time you see Krusty outside the comedy club and he's driving and he's like, oh, I'm going to pull over and get a burger. I thought that was, the current. Because it's that character model. It's not until I realize, oh no, this is meant to be the past, and he's figuring out, oh, I'm going to take this guy's idea and make Krusty Burger.
Right,
It's just, I don't know why they did that. And it's a huge down arrow on this episode, because why not? Why would you not de-age a character?
Yeah, and like they already had Krusty doing an alternate character model, because we get the horrific model of him taking off the hair and seeing him bald was like, I'm surprised how unsettling I found that.
Well, and also they kind of end up doing, like the founder parody of it sort of fades into the background. The idea of like Krusty, losing his business and his parent company being bought out and him not being allowed to, use his own name or anything anymore. Nothing is really done with that. So they could have just found some other way into this grandpa reconnecting with this old friend and being sort of like, tricked into being on this board position. They didn't need Krusty for any of that. So they could have just found a nicer way into it instead of having to be like, wait, Krusty did this 50 years ago? He's like savvy enough as an adult to like, he's of an age where he's like savvy enough to have like decided to like rip off this small business that he finds. Also
got the weird implication that he launched the burger chain first, then became a name in comedy, then got his own show.
Oh yeah.
Which, again, it's not the worst thing to have, but it's an odd, like what the Krusty Burger used to be parodying.
But it's like if Ronald McDonald now had a successful stand-up career.
It's weird, isn't it? And I mean, weirdly, the couple of things in this episode that are very like funny to be watching in this specific moment is like, the idea of this billionaire buying out a parent company in order to fuck over someone that he has an issue with is like very of the moment. And also the bit where he's announcing that it's the 50th anniversary of Krusty Burger and like they're bringing back all the like Krusty Burger Land characters or whatever. Like McDonald's just last week launched a new ad campaign where they're bringing back McDonald Land. I was like,
really?
So random to be watching this week when this like literally like just happened in the last week.
I had no idea. Like we were saying on a recent podcast, it's like, oh, you don't actually see Ronald that much anymore.
Yeah, no, they've done this whole like adult Happy Meal thing where they've brought back those fucked up like puppet ads where there's like Man McCheese and all that stuff. Yeah, that's all back. So I got a real kick out of like, what were the Krusty versions of that? What was it, Melton Patty John or whatever? And
Patty Melton John.
Melton John,
who played for the funeral of Princess Fry.
Yeah, that got a laugh out of me. That was that got an LOL.
I hate how much I liked that as well as as well as Jack Pickleson as well. Got me. Burger Reynolds. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that Krusty Burgerland characters they're not like Mayor McCheese or Ronald or whatever. They're all like real Robin Williams as the genie, like parody, like characters of celebs is very funny.
Well, I mean, that they blitz through them as well because I think that's the one parody in this episode that works. And then, like, I think that is a great launching off point to use the founder as like the explanation for why Krusty Burger's so popular. And he's the perfect character to screw someone over, like Ray Kroc and the McDonald's brothers. Like, it works. Like, I just think it's a great shame of this episode that thread wasn't followed through to the end.
Yeah, I'd much rather watch a whole thing about, the genesis of Krusty Burger and, as you say, actually, if they had have worked backwards and gone, okay, this is kind of stupid that he, like, as you say, it doesn't really make sense that Krusty Burger came first and then that's why he's famous. But explore that. Like that's a funny premise to get into, like how he ended up getting a show as a result of having a popular hamburger restaurant.
Yeah, and speaking of following threads, what do you feel like should be the toy in a grown-up's Happy Meal? I'm going to say a nice pen.
Yeah,
that'd be something we're like, yeah, cool.
Yeah. An appointment with an accountant. Yeah, that'd be helpful.
I wrote down also a good parking space.
Oh,
that makes me happy as an adult.
A McDonald's branded like last will and testament that you can fill out. Got to all start thinking about that at some point.
Well, that's just, on the back of the box. You can fill it out. Instead of the maze, it's a last will and testament.
Yeah. You just have to draw the line from like your possessions to like who you want them to go to.
Brilliant.
And sometimes, with the Happy Meals, they give you the options now of would you like fries or apple slices? And I'll go Advil, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, there's potential out there.
Yeah.
Give me kind of a nice pen, please, McDonald's.
Yeah.
Do you happen to know what they're doing with the including as a toy with those adult Happy Meals?
They're kind of cool. It's like a little collectible tin thing that's got like a real 70s style illustration of one of those McDonald Land characters on it.
Yeah.
And I think in the tin there's like, it's not even necessarily like an adult theme, but it's just like more of a collectible kind of thing. They look cool. It's like it's a neat idea.
Oh, something to put guitar picks in, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, how about you, Tommy? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you, for better or worse?
Yeah, I mean, that Krusty thing really did bug me. It really did seem... It seemed like a crazy thing to have in there, not just to have in there, but to just not reference in any way. Because, like, The Simpsons goes, maybe this is like a rule that they have now, but I feel like it was such a common thing when the show was really starting to turn, when people were kind of, going up, the point where people kind of fairly unanimously agree is the decline in quality, where they would do all this stuff where they would just be like, what's going on here? It doesn't matter. What's that episode that ends with them all like people dancing on the back of a dolphin or whatever? There's like there's a bit in a courtroom. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Lisa's like going, I know this might seem absurd, but let me explain, and then Otto busts in.
Surf's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that kind of stuff where they would do that a fair bit to sort of get themselves out of having, I don't know, written themselves into a corner or whatever.
That's the kind of ending you can have once.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
But it does feel like maybe there's a rule now where they're like, no doing that. No, like, no undermining our own jokes. So maybe it was a thing of like, who cares? But it must have come up. Like, it's not like no one would have caught it, like in the writer's room going, so we're saying that Krusty's like, 75 now? He's like older than Grandpa.
Yeah. No, which, like, again, if they made a joke or a reference to it, wouldn't feel like that they kind of dropped the ball there rather than an opportunity for comedy. Like, it does just feel like they did something wrong. Like,
standout moments like, I liked Homer getting the having the pillowcases full of 25-cent coins to get the cheap Krusty burgers.
Well, what were your whole of the burgers in? A pillowcase full of pillowcases?
Yeah, that was funny. That kind of tickled me.
That one got me well.
I like Grandpa talking about the Simpsons curse, like even when we're up, like something always happens. Again, that's just kind of in there as a, conceit, and then they call back to it at the end. But again, a whole thing about like the Simpsons curse, like that's so it's like there's so many little things that come up in this episode that are all so much more interesting as their own thing than the episode on the whole ends up being.
Yeah, all these little threads that get abandoned through that. And yeah, I'm going to say that's sort of what stands out to me from this one is just, whereas the founder, I felt like, you didn't have to see the movie. You know, Krusty being a Simpsons fan, like that's fine. That all works. But yeah, I just feel like you would have had to see Succession for the second half of this episode to land at all.
Yeah, and by the time I kind of feel like if you're doing the Succession parody, then that's got to be like the entire episode. Like by the time that comes in, I was like, oh, we're doing a Succession thing? Like we've already done like kind of 3 other threads already. And like this is going to be, I thought maybe it was just going to be like one scene would be the like very brief parody. I'm like, oh no, they fully are just doing all the like vote of no confidence and the like boardroom stuff.
A suspicion of Succession is my 4th last note because that's how close it is to the end.
Yeah, well, and especially a show that's so much about boardroom politicking that this one attempts to do just feels so much more half-hearted when the reveal is that the Siobhan stand-in thought she was playing and getting control of the company from her dad, but it turns out the dad was just doing a greater ruse to bring in Abe so that he could prove that his children were trying to oust him.
Yeah.
You know, it does just sort of feel like it's kind of half-hearted and it's not very funny as a result.
Right, and again, like the thing of Abe, like working back at the, you know, he's got like the replica of the original Worth a Try burger, and Abe really like loving it and it being really good for him and feeling like he's got, you know, he's like, I haven't felt, you know, he like really responds so positively to it. And then again, that to me is so interesting to explore. This idea of this like old guy, like kind of having this like renewed purpose and revisiting his youth, but that's just kind of used for a smaller thing in a, less interesting sort of very on the nose. I think I kind of, like when the kids come in, I thought this was just going to be like a one parody scene because they're so deliberately the Succession kids that it kind of by the time it was clear that this was the real story of it, it was kind of hard to care because it sort of is set up like it's just like one visual gag for one scene. So like then being asked to like invest in it as the whole storyline, I was kind of like, oh, this is the main thing I'm meant to be caring about. Like I don't care about this like fake Kieran Culkin guy that's being played by Seth Green.
Yeah. Which it's just funny casting, and it's also like The Simpsons doing a Succession parody, like these characters like are funny in Succession but not in a PG cartoon show, you know? Like
Again, it's like it's already a pretty funny show, so it's like Succession is very self-serious but very funny while it's being self-serious. So it's kind of not like a thing where, you know, if it was just a straight up, you know, really intense drama that you were taking the piss out of, then sure. But there's already so many funny moments in Succession that like there's not really anything there to parody, I wouldn't have thought. It just does feel like this is the current hot thing, so we'll do something about it just to. And I'm sure, obviously, like, the writers are all probably fans. It's like a popular show. Like,
But like the reasons that Kieran Culkin's character is funny, you can't make those jokes on a Simpsons episode, you know?
Right.
They have a brief scene of him and the Jerry character making out, which is a reference to that, I guess. But which is strange. I also kind of hated the way they did the, like, I get what they were going for, but it just didn't land the, like, weird Succession theme, Simpsons theme sort of mashup thing that they did. I could see what they go for, but it didn't really work for me.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, BT?
I recognized it as probably being a thing I've not watched.
Yeah.
I wrote down, music note and then Succession Simpsons theme, ?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of felt like they were playing parts of both songs at the same time rather than doing they really needed to bring in Neil Cicierega on this thing.
Yeah,
or however you pronounce his name. Bringing girl talk.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know, because I am a musician and I know you are too, Tommy. I can sort of hear how they could mash, but it just...
Need a bit more work.
Yeah, I feel like they're just not quite there.
Yeah. It's such a strange one, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of the same way I feel about the script. It just seems like a show that is like, they're just incredibly under the pump. Like, you would think that over the years they've got this down to a bit of a fine art. And obviously, you know, they are working for this, like, cultural institution. So they're kind of, I don't know, there's like a weird level of pressure, I guess, that they have. But, yeah, it does seem like every time I've caught one of these recent episodes, they drop the ball on these plots and threads where you just feel like literally everything we're saying about this seems like the discussions that you would have day one of a writer's room of pitching around this storyline idea and going, do we need this bit? Do we need this bit? This is what's the most interesting part of the story. That's probably its own whole episode. That doesn't make sense.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy for this to have got, like, it really does feel like almost like, you know, South Park famously is made on this, like, incredible, like, breakneck schedule. And I think most people that are still engaging with the show probably, like, know that to some extent. So and, you know, they often are commenting on things that have just happened, which buys you a lot of leniency. But The Simpsons is, like, in production, you know, like a year out. Like, they're not, you know, they're not having to cobble this together like the night before. It just seems, Yeah,
the news has come out that the next seasons are going to be a reduced episode order down to 16 or something. So
yeah, sure.
Hopefully that'll work out in their favor.
Yeah,
Remains
hopefully.
to be seen. So on the Simpsons Index, Tommy, we reckon, you know, because we already reviewed all the classic episodes, and we reckon that the greatest episodes, you know, had an amazing balance of wackiness and heart. So starting out, how was the wackiness for you in this episode? How were, like, the cartoony moments?
Yeah, I guess there's enough of them. Like the Krusty Land burger characters I kind of liked. The thing where they're on the horses and it's the, like, virtual reality, like, treadmill kind of thing, I thought was kind of neat.
Yeah, I will say that was one of my actual laugh out loud moments for the episode, was just the way the horses were animated, and once they did, you know, the pull back and reveal that it's virtual reality or whatever, you know, running on a screen with the horses on a treadmill, just they looked so dejected. And then, when they bring the shots of wheatgrass over for them, the way they knock them over, I'm like, that's some good animal animation.
It's a good little building of bit where, you get the reveal it's VR, then the wheatgrass gets brought over, and he's like, oh boy, wheatgrass, and the lady's like, oh no, it's for the horses, and he's like, oh good, I've been pretending to like it for years. And then just in the back, you know, in the foreground, but it's not called attention to, the horses just knock the wheatgrass over and look at each other like, ugh.
Oh wait, I'll tell you what one other moment I did love. Speaking of that was kind of not super cartoony, but Homer, when he sees the ad for the Krusty Burger thing, and he's like, Marge, cancel your plans for whatever. A hamburger is 25 cents tomorrow, and she's like, cuts to Marge, and she's like dressed up in like the
Tulip Festival you've been planning for a year or something like that.
Yeah. And her really slowly, and like the clip clopping of the the shoes that she's wearing out of the room, I thought was pretty funny.
There's some things that since the dawn of The Simpsons they've always found funny, and clogs is one of them, and it's like, it's hard to fault. They may be the funniest shoe.
I know, no matter what, they still make a funny sound.
Yeah, and a person very solemnly, like, kind of sulking off.
Yeah.
They've always loved as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
How about you, BT? Did you have any wacky standout moments for yourself?
I think there's a bit where after Krusty can no longer call himself Krusty the Clown, he has to be, I think, Herschel Funny Man Show or something.
Yeah.
It's, you know, still introduced by Sideshow Mel, who's now Nothing Mel, and his bone has been replaced by a wrench.
Yeah.
So kind of implying the bone itself was somehow copyrighted to the Krusty Corporation. Like, okay, that's pretty funny.
And the Mr. Teeny Dog as well. Like, it's getting shades of, like, the episode where Krusty got done for tax evasion, but I feel like they put enough of a new spin on it that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you were able to do the same joke, but differently.
I like Nelson going, haha, you're not allowed to use your IP. And there's like, there's barely any kids in the crowd, but there still are some kids that have turned up to watch it, which I found quite funny. Like, why did anyone turn up to watch this version of the show if it's clearly going to be so bad? I enjoyed that.
There's still some ride or die fans for Krusty out there, but none that are still in his age bracket.
Yeah.
Whatever
exactly.
that may be.
Yeah, just retire, dude. They took your IP off you. You're like 78. Just kick back.
So how about the heart? Do you reckon they landed the emotional moments of this episode?
Yeah, again, like, really felt like when I was watching this, like I do about, there's a lot of things that this is true of where the script is like, it's got jokes in it, but there's such a difference between like a written script that has like good written jokes in it and something that is just funny. You know what I mean? And like the best parts of The Simpsons are like, they're well written, but they're just funny. Like they're just the line reads are funny, and the like what's happening is like funny in this like weird way that you can't explain. Like when Homer's got the car park and he's charging like $20 per axle or whatever.
Yeah.
And this guy comes in with this fucking like old car that's got like 10 wheels on it. And Homer goes, woohoo! And the guy goes, hooray! It's just like, me and my friend always used to love that. Like, why is that guy so excited? Like, just something that is like funny that you can, in like this kind of weirdly intangible way. Whereas like so much of this script was just like, you know, these lines happen and you go, yeah, that's a joke. Do you know what I mean? But it's not like...
Yeah, legally that was a joke.
Yeah, there's like jokes that are in there that you couldn't really imagine anyone being like, oh my God, that's so funny. But like I said, I love this premise of Grandpa and Lisa kind of, you know, having their little bond. But again, it just feels so like it's in there as just this like very rules of script writing sort of structural tentpole where it's there and then it's just kind of evoked at the end of Lisa not really knowing what to do, and then Grandpa brings it up at the end. Oh, yeah, the bond that we've had. And it's like, yeah, the episode hasn't really been about that at all, though. Like, so they kind of that. It's disappointing because they're going for it, and I think they could have really done something that had a lot of heart to it, but they just sort of, they just don't stick the landing on it at all. They don't even really try to do anything that meaningful with it. So
no. And it's the problem with the emotional core of the episode serving too many masters in that, it's about Krusty getting revenge taken on him, and then it's slightly about the Simpsons curse, which, prevents true success from ever happening to them, but then it's also Grampa, like...
Yeah. And even, like, Grandpa feeling like he's kind of got this purpose again, where he's, like, doing this, working with his friend, and then his friend just got him there to use him as a pawn to fuck over the family, and Grandpa being really sad. It's like... That kind of got me. Like, that is an interesting thing as well.
He had the good line of, who thought having purpose to my life would give my life purpose? Which is funny, really, but also, it's real and sad. And, him getting betrayed hurts.
Which then makes it such a weird pivot of the Roy kids, the Succession kids, to go, oh, our dad's having fun with this old person. He must be crazy now. Like, it's just such a weak thing to make. And then if that was his plan all along, I'm going to make my kids think I'm crazy because I'm having fun. Like, it's such a weird leap to take that doesn't get you emotionally invested at all.
Yeah, I wonder, it would have been nice if they... I mean, who knows how long the show will... It's genuinely impossible to imagine the show not being on at this point, but, like, I wonder if they could have, like, sat on the Succession parody for a little while and then down the line maybe get, like, a good chunk of the cast to do, like, reprise their roles for a full episode. Like, that could have been really fun if you gave it a little bit and let it kind of cook a little more. So, because what did you say this was, 2023? So that would have been...
23,
Was that the year that Succession finished or the year after? I think it finished in...
sure, because I watched it after the fact and I honked it all in one go and it was amazing. I didn't have to wait for years like
I think it might have wrapped up in... I think this might have come out around the time it wrapped up, maybe.
Yeah, May 2023. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
This came out the same month that it wrapped. Fucking crazy shit.
Oh, there you go. Well, I guess that's probably why they did it.
But it is weird not to have Kendall there as well, like in some capacity. Like if you're gonna go this far, like why not have what is probably like the mainest kid of the four? Like
and have a joker. He doesn't have to do heaps in the episode, but even having a joke about why he's not there. When you're gonna reference Jerry and Roman having a weird thing. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you really are going all in on some pretty deep, like, Succession lore at that point. Like, why then leave out one of the kids? It's, really odd.
Yeah, and because Alan Ruck wasn't in, like, all the episodes either. Like, he was pretty absent for a lot of it.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Oh, God, I would have loved to hear Paul F. Tompkins having a crack at at a Jeremy Strong impression.
Yeah, well, and I feel like because the characters, like the voice actors, don't get to shine with these roles at all, really.
Because
Like,
they're constrained to the parody.
yeah, well, because Paul F. Tompkins as well, like it's kind of a normie sort of character, and then
Yeah, he definitely could cook a lot more. I also, it's kind of, was it back in the day they would, if they had a guest star, it was like they had one person on, right? So you kind of, like with this, I was sort of going like, oh, Lithgow is great for this. Like, you know, one of the kings, like, his voice really suits a cartoon. You've got him in, like, you don't need Seth Green, and you don't need you don't need all these other people coming in. Like, let him have the limelight.
yeah, no, because again, just it's trying to serve too many masters, and then you got to sort of clunk the rest of the Simpsons in here as well. Like, yeah, it just doesn't super work. But ultimately, does this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Is this the show you know and love? Is this the characters you know and love? How's the integrity?
I don't know. It's breaking integrity, really.
Not super, I guess.
Except for Krusty.
Except for the age of Krusty. That is a pretty glaring one. I mean, it's like I say, there's like this weird thing when you watch The Simpsons now where it really does feel like a kind of weird fan art project. You know what I was thinking about as I was watching this, because I've been watching the King of the Hill revival.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so interesting, a show that obviously premiered after The Simpsons but was still on for a very long time, and then had this huge gap in between, and then now is back. It's so interesting to think, like, if The Simpsons had have wrapped up at season 12, like, it would be back around now for a revival, and, like, what that would, you know what I mean? Like, without the previous, like, 20 years of the show, like, how we would feel about seeing new episodes where, Homer's 50 and, like, without all the stuff in between. But at this point, like when I laughed out loud at that Princess Fry's funeral thing, and I was like, you know what, that's more than I could really hope for that's more than I thought I was going to get out of a modern Simpsons episode. So I was like, all right, that's pretty funny. You know, there are a couple little...
Yeah, you got more than most guests of this podcast get. Like, honestly, man, super lucky on that one.
Yeah.
Like, most people are like, some air moved out of my nose.
Right.
Dislodge some snot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I was thinking about this today. I mean, it continues to be renewed every year. Like, there must be people that are still tuning in every week that it's like appointment viewing for. But yeah, it's just so hard to imagine anyone making this their priority. Like, it's bizarre. I certainly don't know of, the only people that I know of who watch the new episodes the week they're out are people that work for websites that are like reviewing them for the web. You know, you never meet someone who's like, I still watch it every week. Like,
no, Beej, you've often theorized that Simpsons only exists for the Simpsons podcasters now. So
I'm convinced.
Yeah, that would make sense. I'd buy it.
But yes or no, would you watch this episode again? Would this enter in the repeat Simpsons watches for you?
Probably, maybe just to show people how crazy, just to show people the beginning and see if they immediately pick the same thing about Krusty's age that we all did.
Yeah.
Because that seemed, because like I went on the Wikipedia page for the episode, and on the reviews thing, I thought surely that'll be a thing that would be surely the top line thing about this episode. And it's not listed in any of the like pull quotes on the Wikipedia page. I didn't do a deep dive. I didn't look up like a full AV club review or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, they stopped reviewing it, which is annoying because like we used to do a segment on the show where we'd look at the reviews, but like the only ones that sort of exist now are like Den of Geek and Bubble Blather, who are like still saying, yeah, it's an 8 out of 10 show. It's great.
Yeah.
I don't think so. How about you, BT? Would you watch this one again?
I mean, maybe after I watch Succession.
You should watch Succession. It is a pretty good show.
Good answer. Very true, yeah.
Yep. I don't know, some quick Googling. Apparently, Krusty is 52, so when he steals that business, he is 2 years old.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You got to get started early in this town.
Apparently.
Bizarre.
But what would we like to change? Tommy, why don't you kick it off? What are some things about this episode that you'd like to change? How would you improve this one?
I think I would lean more into the founder of it. I still do like the guy kind of fucking over Krusty. I think I'd just get rid of all the Succession stuff. He can still be a billionaire.
Yep.
He can still get his revenge on Krusty. He can still do all the Krusty Burger stuff. You've got to figure out a better way to do that age thing and just have a bit more of that heart of Grandpa and Lisa in there. If you're if you're going to have that in there, kind of make that more of the focus. Although I don't even know that, just randomly Grandpa going like, I'll bring Lisa with me. Like,
feels out of nowhere.
Like none of that really needed to be in there. But I would get rid of the succession stuff, make it its own thing. And I think what we were saying before, like do the thing of how did Krusty end up becoming massively famous as a result of having, like, the fact that Krusty Burger came first is funny. And, like, that's kind of like a funny subversive way of, like, taking something about a show that's been on this long that the Krusty Burger is, like, a big part of the iconography of the show, and the twist being, like, no, that came first. That's not his tie-in. That's the thing that made him what he is. Like, explore that. That's funny.
Yeah, and that is an interesting, like, thing where you can play with the Simpsons history and not feel like, oh, you didn't forget about a thing. You're actually taking what we already know and, like, actually having fun with it. Yeah.
You're filling in some gaps that you've never actually gone into. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. How about you, BT? What would you like to change?
I mean, I like that idea, so stick with that. But if you wanted to, you can cut Krusty entirely and just have this billionaire reconnect with Abe after a while and be like, I've never, even though I'm this big rich dude, I've never had as much fun as when we were working together. Do you want to come and be on my board of directors or whatever? And, I want to see Grandpa and Lisa have a relationship, because the fact that we've never really seen that explored, that's got to be fertile ground. Then, they can find something to get on about, even if it's just, oh, Lisa, I'm not too sure about going into this corporate world. I don't know what to think. You're smart, why don't you come with me, or something like that, or you're the most honest person I know, help me make sure I don't lose my way, something, whatever.
It's like, it's a real pick a lane episode, isn't it? Like, like, because there's a little bit about the Simpsons curse, sort of reminiscing of, like, when Lisa loses her smarts and that sort of thing like that. And I feel like that is something you can sort of play with, where, like, even Grandpa meeting up with this guy who's, like, cutting him in and whatever, like, he's just now looking for the way that it's going to bite him in the ass. Because there's even a bit where they're saying, oh, this was all because of Grandpa's cowardice as well, because when Gus asked him to step up, he sort of shriveled up into a ball and didn't
I forgot about that.
Which isn't a Simpsons curse. That's just you being a coward, which is a different thing. Like, and there's just so many moments like this where it felt like, it was trying to do too many things, serve too many masters. And there's something to the Siobhan character manipulating Lisa into her being on board with her plan because she's going to turn the company all green. And I even love the Red Star transition into Green Star, and Lisa, I love it, like, and that's a part of the sort of politicking that works for me with this one. But the whole reveal with Gus going, oh, this was my plan the entire time, just felt like a very matter of convenient, like, rather than being like, interesting politicking sort of.
Well, and they're doing this kind of weird, like, actual Succession plot point thing, rather than it be like a comedy twist on it. It just is the kind of thing that would happen in Succession. It's not like a heightened, silly version of it. Yeah,
which then you're going to ask, well, a boardroom politicking show is good. That concept, is that going to translate well to The Simpsons? And probably not. All right, I think we are here. It's time for our final notes.
How does the Succession theme go, and can I sing final notes to that?
No, it's time for the final notes. Bling.
All right, now you know what? We're going to go to final notes now. This has been seconded. Motion carries.
Yep. Actually, I don't think either of you two would have seen, but on the wrestling promotion AEW, there's a tag team, the Young Bucks, and they did a whole Succession parody to their characters where they're like executive vice presidents in the company, like in real life. And so they saw people commenting on the internet. It's like, oh, they're in charge of the company, so they always book themselves to win. Yeah. And they thought, oh, we're just going to full lean into that. And they did full go like Succession kids into that and worked it into their act that they were just spoiled rich kids. It was so good.
That's pretty
sick.
Good.
So my recommendation.
Wrestling got it right. Simpsons, not so much.
So we'll just go around the horn. If you got a final note, bits from the episode you want to mention before we move on to the rankings, say so. BT.
When Krusty's driving around, he sees Bob's House of Used Coffins, a billboard for that. That was an early laugh I got.
Yeah, we get that Simpsons cliche of the boulevard of convenient signage. I like that with the depression liquor and all that. Tommy.
I liked when Homer's got the pillowcases full of all the burgers and they're like on Maggie's pram and you can see her looking all shitty underneath, that she's like not got any room in her pram. I thought that was a nice little moment.
Yeah. Oh, and I love the animation of them getting attacked by burger hawks as well. That was good. There was a really sort of, I don't know why they included this. They had like Meet the Stars of Krusty the Clown, and they had Sideshow Bob there, and he signed Kirk's chest, die,
yeah.
Kirk, die. And it's
Look, I wasn't going to harp on this, but this is something that pissed me off because this is basically the Simpsons smelling their own farts.
Right.
Because it's like that part wasn't something Bob was known for. That's a joke in the show we're watching that you're recreating for the audience, not for like internally. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like you wouldn't. I don't know if you've seen any of this in the episodes you've seen, Tommy, but there's been like 5 times that they've referenced the gif of Homer backing into the hedge.
Oh, yeah,
like
I bet.
within the show.
Yeah,
It's so tedious.
That's annoying. That sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Got another note, Tommy?
No, that's kind of all I can think of, really. Yeah. I think we've covered so much of it.
Damn, we're efficient.
How about you, BC, then?
I mean, plenty, of course. I do like the Worth a Try Burgers radio ad. It was like, it's worth a try. You might like it, and you might not. The place across the street is pretty good, too.
I loved the modest jingle and them singing it again in the middle of the episode.
yeah.
I'm like, that was really good.
Yeah.
I liked the Space Clown movie, the like obvious product placement.
Oh, yeah.
Movie of the Space Clown and me, and especially with that Amazon War of the Worlds being sort of the talk of everyone at the moment, and how egregiously product placement-y that one is. Like, I enjoyed it from that level. That Space Clown Krusty like pilots away by farting dollar signs. It's just
yeah.
It was good.
Nice. There's a sign that says, it's going through like Krusty's Hall of Fame, whatever, and it says Congressman Krusty, 3 weeks of service, and I was like, oh, yeah, he was a congressman.
He was.
I forgot about that.
Stop the low-flying planes, which aren't helping us out here. That's okay.
I hadn't, because I hadn't watched the show in such a long time, I was really blown away by the intro just going like straight in on the O, like right into the episode. I don't think I've ever seen an episode where they've done that before.
It's pretty common in this era.
Yeah,
No.
okay.
Our good friend over at The Real Gyms did a big YouTube video on, the Simpsons intro and how, in the 30s, more than half the episodes don't do the intro sequence. It's straight in.
Yeah,
How could they
makes
cut
sense.
anything?
Trying to save a minute or two, yeah.
And the other week when we had Josh Earl on, when they did the full intro and they did a big couch gag and a 2-minute song parody before the credits, and what we were left with was this like really weak 17-minute episode that was because that's another comment we keep making. Okay, you've cut the intro out for time, but you haven't used it all that well.
Exactly, and hey, maybe having less time would have been beneficial in this case, because it would have made you gut some of those plot points.
The scene where Abe and Gus first see each other are long reunited. Is this a Forrest Gump reference?
Yep.
Okay. Because I'm like, why are they walking through Fanta? And like, I half rewatched this episode because it slipped like Teflon from my mind.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I think that's meant to be Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the thing where Homer's calling out where he's like, no, it's not you.
Yeah.
Oh,
and he's like...
that was a funny bit where like they were like, oh, Abe, and it's like, it's not you, it's never you.
Yeah.
Even when he hugs him, he's like, Abe, I've missed you so. It's not you, Dad. Yeah. It was like, Krusty has the line, he's eating caviar, and he says, caviar, so many fish that will never be fish.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
What was with I liked the weird, like, setting up of the gig, the stand-up gig that Krusty's doing at the start, where, like, what is it, like George Carlin is on there as well?
Yeah, George Carlin, Richard Pryor.
And Albert Brooks.
Yeah, that was funny.
I love that because, like, mentioning the comedy legends, but also throwing in Albert Brooks. I love it when they mention their, like, many repeated time guest stars. Like, that episode where Fat Tony was first introduced, then they had the telemovie based on it, and they had Joe Mantegna as Fat Tony. It's like, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, very much. He's our friend.
Yeah.
Conan, Bart getting interviewed on Conan was great.
Yeah.
Something that could have been cut for time, there's this whole parody of Pure Imagination where the billionaire's flying them in.
Yeah.
Oh,
It didn't really do anything. It's close to a heart moment where Lisa's like, I want to change the world. You can't afford
That's
it.
right.
But,
I tell you what, I mean,
nothing.
not that any of it was particularly successful for any of us, but Man, good on them for fucking cramming a lot in here.
There's so many things.
Damn.
It's a founder, it's a Willy Wonka, and like he even says at the end, you get nothing, like in that very Gene what's his name way. Gene Wonka.
Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
Get nothing. Good day, sir.
Yeah.
The whole thing with Grandpa thinking a box of raisins is a phone did nothing for me.
Yeah.
He takes the selfie and like Lisa goes, I hope you didn't see that. He calls it his berry box or something.
Yeah, there's a dumb thing where he thinks of the box of raisins is a phone, but then Lisa goes, he calls it his berry box. And it's like, so he knows it's raisins then.
Yeah.
Why would he call it that if he didn't know what it was?
Strange.
Again, that's what I mean about the kind of joke that's like on the page. You know what I mean? You'd be like, good one. But it's out loud. It doesn't amount to anything.
My last two notes are handguns for dogs, because why not? And then in the end, puppy guns shows up.
Yeah, I got to admit, I had a bit of a laugh at that. Just in the like extreme thing of like manipulating Lisa. It's like, well, this is the other thing we're considering, and you don't want us to do this, right? Like, that played for me. Yeah, I only had two other notes. I thought the montage of them like going up to the boardroom was pretty good and pretty funny, and like. Yeah, like I think it's Roman that gets on a jet ski and then Siobhan's doing yoga, but it turns out it's a VR simulation in the bus that she turns up in. And then that they all get in 5 different elevators is also pretty funny and like does feel like something they would have done in Succession, you know.
Yep.
Be at least 2 elevators away from me.
I like Grandpa's little suit that he's wearing for the occasion.
And my last note is the Roman character. After, Siobhan and Lisa are done with their horse VR simulation thing, rocks up wearing a giant ball of yarn and has cats on the screen. It's like, it's my turn to use the room. I laughed at that.
Yeah, that was a very fun, cartoony little moment.
Again, because of how grubby the Roman character is, I'm like, this is probably as close as a Roman joke as you can do without, like, getting into the more unsavory elements. Anyway, I think it's time to rank this thing. Oh, wait, no, but first I keep forgetting. BT, you've got to ask the most important question to Tommy.
Indeed. So we like to ask our first-time guests, if you could have a sandwich named after you, what would be on that sandwich? And if that is in fact too difficult, just simple it down to what's the best sandwich. But if I walk into a little deli on the corner, I'm sitting down, I'm going through their menu, I'm going to order the Tommy. What am I getting?
I reckon you're getting a bit of pesto, bit of chicken, bit of sun-dried tomato, and a bit of melted cheese.
Okay, on just like regular bread, or are we getting fancy with this?
We're going, you can choose the bread.
Okay.
We're going, a lot of my life is kind of having to, like my partner is gluten-free, so a lot of my life is dining out together and scanning menus to make sure there's enough on there for her.
Hey man,
and look, for anyone that's in that position, I want to make it easy for you.
It's the Millhouse, a pain I know all too well, as my partner is also gluten-free.
Yeah, so in honor of her / people in my position, I'll put it on gluten-free bread.
Gluten-free
like
option,
the really
excellent.
good kind. Yeah, the good kind.
Nice.
Oh, man. I hope that, because you were at a festival in Sydney over the weekend, I hope that travels down to Melbourne.
It might. There was a gluten-free festival. I think they are actually doing in Melbourne. Let me Google that real quick. Let me double-check that.
It's meant to be the big day out of gluten-free for the celiacs out there.
Oh, wow. Or just like food and like...
Yeah, it was like part trade show, part like, you know, stuff you can take home. But yeah, my girlfriend loved it. I think it's getting in Melbourne. Hang on, let me see if it's... Oh, no, here it is. It is Gluten-Free Expo, Celiac Australia in Melbourne. Sydney's already passed, unfortunately, but Melbourne, 18th and 19th of October.
Oh, wow.
At the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre. Tickets on sale 5th of September. Recommended.
Start sleeping out for those ones.
For real. Like, honestly, the joy my girlfriend experienced of being like, I don't have to ask. I can just go and buy and eat things.
Was it that full like land of chocolate mode?
Little bit.
Yeah. I'm going to pass that on. That's a good tip.
Oh, that's unreal. Like, they have rides and stuff as well? Or?
No, unfortunately. It's not full on. There's not really a lot of gluten in rides.
But to, make sure that they're seen and make sure, we can ride the celiac roller coaster,
Ride the digestive tract.
All right, now it's time to rank this thing. So, on the Simpsons Index, we rank using a 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just meh, you give it a participant. But for the positive rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold, but for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. Man, I'm right on that participant bronze border because there were a few jokes which... And it's one of these like Stockholm Syndrome things where it doesn't feel as bad as a lot of participants, but it's a fucking mess. I'm going to go with a bronze and maybe shout something later. Use your claws.
Excellent plan.
BT, what do you reckon?
Yeah, like the discussion I was going through and actually I liked a lot more jokes. I don't have a lot of down arrows, but it's just kind of a lifeless episode that I feel like is mostly going to slip from my brain. Maybe there's something more to be mined if you get the Succession references. For me, even though I enjoyed, a number of jokes, overall I'm just going to participate. I didn't even get a full page of notes because there's just not that much going on. And at the same time, it's completely packed.
Yeah, no, I literally had to rewatch it again unless I forgot everything. Tommy, finish it off, please.
Yeah, maybe it's just the fact that I have not really, watched any of the newer episodes in such a long time. I'm going to go with bronze just because, I didn't hate watching it. There was definitely, once it got to the end and on reflection, I was like, this bit didn't kind of really make sense. This bit was underutilized. But, as we're saying, there was stuff kind of constantly happening throughout it. So it's not like it was, one long drawn-out thing that I didn't care about. Even though that kind of added up to a pretty, unsatisfying experience, the actual, being in the moment of watching it, I was... Yeah, I didn't dislike watching this episode. And as you say, there's a couple of good jokes in there. So yeah, I think bronze for me overall.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for Meat is Murder and for season 33 for the Simpsons Index. Yeah, and averaging out, it'll, much like this episode, also go down as being a dull bronze. And yeah, we like to finish the episodes on a bit more of a positive note and just talk up the better episodes from the season. So like we said, of all the season 30s, this is our top ranking of those seasons, 33, but still having said that, it's our 16th best season overall, just behind season 15. But yeah, some of the better episodes from it was Bart's in jail, where Grandpa gets scammed into thinking that Bart's in jail, and it's actually a whole episode about, how Grandpa got scammed out of a bunch of money, and it's, surprisingly solid time.
Cool. Yep.
And Lisa's Belly, where Bart and Lisa both start taking this antibiotic that makes them put on weight, and Bart, cruises through and it's fine, but Lisa, deals with a lot of insecurity, and, this is one where, it almost could have been a classic episode.
Yeah.
Because it basically starts out with, a parallel Mount Splashmore intro and then goes into this really deep emotional story with Lisa and Marge's relationship, and it's really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, and a lot of people like a Serious Flanders where they do a 2-part Fargo parody. That's one where those articles are The Simpsons is back, are always quoting that one. We didn't love it, but it's an interesting thing where it's a non-canon thing where they're trying to do a prestige drama of Fargo, of all things.
Yeah, and there's Portrait of a Lackey on Fire. That was pretty good. That's Smithers gets a different boyfriend and a proper relationship.
Yeah, and that one, again, weirdly pivots into being a Chernobyl parody, but...
They love their weird pivots, don't they?
Yeah.
You know what? Here's a weird pivot one. Pixelated and Afraid, where the first act is terrible, but then it pivots into Homer and Marge get lost in the woods without their clothes, and it's like I don't know, kind of what is Naked and Afraid or something like that, and it's really good. It sticks the landing, but again, terrible first act. Yeah, and I think that's about all the positive episodes that we mentioned. And yeah, don't continue on after watching this episode, Tommy, because the next one is, remember the musical episode about class divide and Hugh Jackman is in it?
Yeah, that was a weird one. I didn't know what to make of that.
They're biting off more than they can chew, and yeah, Hugh Jackman does not help them.
Oh boy.
If Hugh Jackman can't help you, you're in trouble.
Tommy, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. And yeah, thank you for persevering with me.
No, that's all right.
Worth it. We got there.
No, it's great. And please tell the people out there what you're up to. How can you be found and your stuff, etc.?
Well, yeah, I do a video games podcast every week called Filthy Casuals with Ben Vanel every Thursday. That goes up. And then I have my show How to Do Everything, which is me chatting to comedians and writers, actors, chefs, musicians, about what they are good at, what they can teach me how to do, and that's every Wednesday. So, yeah, just those are the two main things. Oh, and I've got like a YouTube channel where I've got my stand-up special from last year, and I've got a video game that I made. You can find just all this stuff is at my website, tommydassalo.com.
Oh, yeah, Super Dassalo Land.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that coming to Nintendo Switch 2 at some point?
You know what? It actually might be. It actually weirdly, I've got it's a long story, but it could well do. Yeah.
Well, in browsers at the moment, but yeah, watch this space.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been a big fan of yours for years, found you through Filthy Casuals actually, and yeah, that is just my appointment podcast. I absolutely love the work, and like one of my favorite lockdown moments, you know, we try and find the joy from that time where we can, but those community nights where you, opened it up and we're doing some Jackbox stuff with the fans was honestly one of the very few highlights of the lockdown era, and thank you for all your work, man.
Oh, thank you, that's so nice to hear. Yeah, they were fun. That kept me sane as well, so yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah, those Jackbox nights and Gardic nights, and
I've been playing Gardic Phone recently. I'd forgotten about it for a while, and I've brought it out at a couple of dinner parties. Man, it's so fun.
Oh, it's so good. Like, I love what those Jackbox or Gardic are doing where, they're taking the board games, but they're just taking all the crap out of the equation. Reducing the cleanup and, like, setup so much.
And they're just, like, telling people how to play it. Like, it's all, everyone just is on their own phones. It's all very, like, self-evident. Yeah, it's so good.
But, absolutely loving the new pod. And, over at your Patreon as well. I'm loving the radio show you're doing over there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, I do, like, a once a month. Like, I play music for an hour and a bit. I've always wanted to do, like, a show where I play music and talk about it. Obviously, you can't just do that as a podcast because you'll get done for licensing. But I figured if ever I'm going to be able to get away with it, it's, like, behind the paywall on a private feed is, like, really the only place I feel like that I'm not going to get, like, done for copyright. But, it's fun to do.
No, and that's it. And, people on Patreon aren't going to dob you in because people on Patreon are cool, speaking of which.
Well, you can go to Patreon if you're cool. You can go to patreon.com/sidequeststudios where you get, access to something like 250 plus exclusive podcasts and also the ability to do neat things like voting. Do you get to vote us out? No, that's not how this works. But you do get to vote for Starring Springfield. This is the podcast where we watch movies that star the cast of The Simpsons, and you can tell us which movies to go and watch. So check that out, patreon.com/sidequeststudios. And if you're like, it's money's a little tight these days, you're not in a succession where you're going to inherit millions, you can just check out the free feed for Starring Springfield on your current podcatcher.
Yeah, I think we just released our review of the oldest movie we can review on that, which is Abbott and Costello Go to Mars, starring a 9-year-old Harry Shearer. That was quite a trip to see, yeah. How about you, Tommy? Is there any favourite movies that star the Simpsons cast that come to mind?
Oh, I mean, it's got to be Spinal Tap, right? Like, I can't think of too many others, honestly, but yeah, I'm pumped for that new Spinal Tap.
Yeah, we just saw the 41st anniversary print down at the Dendy. It was so good.
Does it look good? Have they done a good restoration of it? Oh man,
yeah.
Yeah,
got a little bonus content at the beginning and the end as well.
Yeah,
man, the clip in the trailer for the second one of Elton John coming out of the floor playing piano on Stonehenge really got me pretty pumped up for that movie. I can't wait. I'm trying to temper my expectations, but man, they are looking old, those boys. Good Lord.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, that was the crazy thing with this episode because, like, people are often struck with, like, how old Julie Kavner and how old Mr. Burns is sounding these days, but we didn't get a lot of them in this one.
Yeah, I got to say, I think Marge speaks, like, twice, but that's the big thing I think about anytime you see, like, a clip of, the newer episodes, like, fuck, she's... Yeah, that's got to have been tough on the old vocal cords doing that voice for 40 years coming up on. Jesus.
Yeah, but I mean that's the cool thing about the Starring Springfield podcast is we got to see some of her work outside of The Simpsons, and
yeah, right.
You know what? Her and Henry Winkler playing Adam Sandler's parents in Click, one of the best elements of that movie.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, she's an absolute powerhouse actor. It's been really cool checking out more of her stuff. But yeah, anyway, that's on Starring Springfield. Patreon is patreon.com/sidequeststudios. But I think that's the Simpsons Index for tonight. Once more, thank you very much, Tommy.
No, thank you, guys.
And thank you, BT.
I don't have an exit line.
Well, you're ousted then.
Ah!
Nah, you can come back into the board. And I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the house.
He voted the mustard out. Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. We're also on social media. You can follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, and on Threads. Links for all that and more are down in the show notes. And lastly, consider giving us a 5-star review. Why not? We'd do it for you. Now, there's no bonus scenes for this episode. Everything we left in was pure gold, so we'll catch you next time.